Alright everybody, if you see a green screen behind me, it means I screwed up, and the confidence my wife had in me when she bought this was a little bit misplaced. If you see a cool background behind me, she was right, I am a genius. Anyway, if it is green this week or this time, I hope that I get this figured out next time. It's the first time I've ever tried to do any green screening, but I hope it works out, and it's kind of one of those things that hopefully in the future these videos can get a little bit better. Anyway, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Black Ops 2 reveal and the 10 things that we really want to see improved or changed going into this year's Call of Duty release. Before I do that, however, I would like to answer two questions that I've been getting quite a bit in my inbox. The first one is, what have I been playing? Everyone knows it's kind of been a slow time for major releases right now, and it generally is leading up to E3. But there's been lots of smaller games that have been coming out that have been really good. I've been playing Fez, probably as a lot of people out there have been. In the last week or so, I've been playing Mortal Kombat on the Vita. It's really good. It's a great translation of the same game we got last year. Obviously has all of the extra content on it. Translates well. The controls are precise. The only thing that's really noticeable as a downgrade is the character models. But in story mode and in the cutscenes, they actually pre-render the cutscenes from the console version, so you get the high resolution polygon, high polygon count character models, and then when it switches into a fight it moves into the smaller polygon count models. It's a little bit jarring when it makes that transition, but it's nice seeing the higher quality models even for a little bit during those cutscenes. So that's kind of what I've been playing, not a whole lot. A little bit of Kid Icarus on the 3DS as well, but I'm kind of winding down on that one. I'm hoping to jump into Xenoblade soon. I had my copy and haven't been able to get into it. And I've got a few other games in my backlog that I want to clear up, but I'll make a separate video to talk about backlog. The other question I've got is, in a previous video I said that I thought that BioWare should not change the ending to Mass Effect 3. And yes, the ending was disappointing, but I stated that I thought that was their artistic vision, and since that point they've announced that they're going to extend the ending and add some more clarification, and I'm fine with that. The question that people have come in is, what are my thoughts on the ending as it stands? Do I think it needs this clarification? Personally, I do think it does. I still don't think they need to change it. I don't like the ending. I was really on the side of, the line of people who disliked it. I'm not crying out. I'm not, making too big of a fuss about it. I made my views known that I don't like the end. But again, it is BioWare's decision to end the game in that fashion. Now, this clarification, obviously it can't change what's been done. It's probably just going to be a little bit better of an epilogue, but we're always going to be stuck with that ending that's just not so great. But that's okay. It was a wonderful series. 3 of the best games of the generation, for sure, and one of my favorite trilogies I can think of. As far as what does BioWare owe us, I think this clarification is good, because it is a little too vague for the ending of a trilogy. But beyond that, there's just no fixing it. So I think we need to accept what they give us, be grateful that they at least offer a little bit more, and that it's going to be free. Yes, it would be nice if we had a better conclusion to such a great series, but I'm okay with what we're getting. At least from an artistic standpoint. It's not the most satisfying ending, but we'll take it. So into the main topic, there are 10 things I wanted to point out. There's more than 10, but these are probably the 10 biggest things that I want to see changed in the Call of Duty series going forward. We already know they're making some big changes to the single player with some branching decisions and such, but we're going to talk solely about multiplayer at this point, because that's, let's face it, everyone plays a single player within a week or so. The next few months they're playing multiplayer. First of all, I think they need to bring back maps that have longer view sights. One of the earliest and most persistent complaints about Modern Warfare 3 was just that the maps were so crowded that everything was tiny little alleys. You could rarely look out and see very far. Now there was a few exceptions, but for the most part you were just in really tight spaces, constantly spawning on top of each other, turning corners and running just smack first into people. Every building had 4 or 5 entrances and exits. I'm not a sniper class player, but I could recognize that the maps were terrible if you were a sniper. There wasn't good places to set up, and sight lines were really short. Yes, it reduced camping, but it takes a whole class and it kind of turns into a cheesy class. That's where you got much more problems with people quick scoping, because they were better off running around than finding good snipe positions and trying to defend those. They were better off getting out and just cheesing. So bring back maps with a view. Open things up a bit. It's fine if we're going to have a few tight maps, but we need some maps that are going to be a bit more open. And even in each map should have its open areas. Areas where it's risky to cross, where you know snipers could be lining up on you. So gives a little bit more attention to those maps and makes the sniper class a little bit more relevant. Secondly, I think they need to tone down the perks. Now, from what I've heard, there's going to be some pretty powerful ones. I can't say much right now, but think a little bit about what's going on in the single player with the huge drone machines out there, and think of how those might tie into multiplayer. But you know what? We've really lost kind of what was great about Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare 1, in that the perks were kind of a nice thing that would come in and change things up momentarily. And over time, those perks have just become extremely, or I guess I'm using perks the wrong way. I should be saying kill streaks. They've become really powerful. And yes, some of the perks themselves have been too powerful. But tone them down, make it a little bit more skill-based as far as your shooting prowess goes, and don't let kill streaks and perks rule the day. Third, and this ties kind of into that, is tone down on the cheesy stuff. Some of the biggest complaints about Call of Duty games is the cheesy stuff. Basically, if you get seen first, you're dead, because there's so many things that are just overpowered. Things that I would talk to, you know, being that is in the first Black Ops, you had the remote control car. That thing was super annoying. And with a few tweaks, it could have been fine. It shouldn't have gone up and down stairs. That's silly. It was awful. And World of War had the dogs that were kind of cheesy and dumb. And Modern Warfare 3 has several things. But overall, if they can just get rid of a few of those cheesy things. I mean, every once in a while, one thing that's kind of overpowered, if you earn it's fine. But it was just too easy to get those kill streaks or perks that allowed you to kind of cheese your way through matches. Tone down the noob tube, for crying out loud. Next to, and this is my biggest thing, is find a way to better deal with lag compensation. For those that don't know what lag compensation is, there is latency between the connections of everyone playing online. Basically, the amount of time it takes for my Xbox to send information to a server that takes that information, sends it to the opponents, and then those two machines sync up, there's some time involved. So when I pull my trigger and shoot at someone, it's not instantaneously getting that information to that person's Xbox and registering hits on them. So what they've done is they've kind of put in a little bit of a predictive system, or they compensate lag one way or the other based on connections that are available. And that's why you get that effect where you might get killed when you've been sitting there shooting a guy for 2 or 3 seconds, and the kill cam shows that you didn't even get a single shot off. And that's because of lag compensation. They're introducing lag on your side to make up for the connection on their side that may not be so good, or that your communication's been kind of sketchy, so they introduce some lag. All shooters have to handle latency in one way or another. Personally, I'm not too happy of how they've handled it in Call of Duty the last couple of releases. So if they can get that dialed down, improve it some way, it would be a whole lot better, because nothing's more infuriating than seeing yourself killed in the kill cam and it looks completely different than what you saw through your own sights. One other thing I don't like, and that is the aim assistance in the game. So number 5, remove aim assistance. We just don't need it. It's too noob friendly, and what aim assistance is sometimes when your cursor's close to a character, it'll kind of pull in and put it on them. You can kind of test for this in Modern Warfare 3 sometimes, is go ahead and just pick a spot and have your cursor sitting off in the distance, and then have one of your friends run by. A lot of times your cursor will snap to it and track with them. For maybe, it's really subtle, but maybe quarter second up to half a second or so, and then it loses it. And that's to help, you know, kind of make up for the imprecise nature of controllers when you're using the dual sticks. The thing is, we're good enough these days that we don't need that aim assistance, and sometimes it messes you up. I've had countless instances where I've seen a character running in one direction and another one coming that's closer, and I want to aim at the guy in the distance because maybe he's running away, and my aim assistant snaps to the wrong guy. You know, different things like that. Or it just throws off what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get ahead and lead. You know, maybe I'm trying to snipe, maybe I'm trying to use a 3-round burst gun, so I want to get my crosshairs in front of him and get ready for him to run in, and then it snaps to it, throws off my timing, drives me crazy. Number 6, create a more accurate matchmaking system. You know, Call of Duty does a pretty good job of getting you into matches. The lobby works well, you pull in your friends, you wait, and you get matched up. The problem is it doesn't do a very good job of putting players at levels that are similar to each other in the same match. I don't know how many times, my friends and I, we play quite a bit, but we don't play as much as a lot of the people who just sit on there night after night. So we'll jump in, and we might have guys who've gone once, maybe twice through Prestige, but we're matching up against guys for their 5th or 6th time through, and we just get demolished. And yeah, the solution is get better, but we don't have that time. Personally, I have to review a lot of different games and product. We all work 40-hour work weeks. We have kids. It'd be nice if we could play against people who are in similar situations with us. And with the amount of people that play Call of Duty, they're out there. So it would be, I'd rather wait an extra 30 seconds, 1 minute to get matched up if we could get similar skill. And again, it's also not fun when we get matched up against a team and we just completely dominate them because we're more experienced than them. So it happens both ways. It'd be nice if it was just a little bit less often that happened. 7th is make the assault rifle relevant again. I felt like the assault rifle was extremely weak in Modern Warfare 3 compared to earlier Call of Duties. The shotguns obviously have been really strong lately, especially when you see a guy running around with akimbo shotguns. That's kind of annoying, but just this hip firing stuff that's going on with the submachine guns, they can spray the screen and the damage output's so much stronger that it's almost not worth carrying an assault rifle, because if you're at close range, those submachine guns are going to tear you up. If you're at longer range, you're going to have a tough time because of the amount of damage that you lose with distance. And the assault rifle just didn't work out so well, and a lot of that was because of the maps. They were just so crowded that you were better off using the submachine guns. So hopefully the assault rifle can make a big comeback in Black Ops 2. And that's a class that I play about, I'd say 25% of the time. I'm actually more of a light machine gun character, and those were terrible in Modern Warfare 3 compared to earliest Call of Duties. They still have their place, but not as good. So along with the assault rifles, I'd like to see the light machine gun make a little bit of a comeback. Number 8, and this ties into that, is they need to severely nerf the hip firing. It's just too powerful. When you can win engagements without ever aiming down your sights because you're in a narrow hallway or just a crowded area and you're firing dual SMGs and just kind of spraying the screen, that doesn't take a lot of skill, and it's kind of silly looking. I mean, it's you've got the one guy who's really taking time to line up his shot, and then you've got Rambo running through spraying dual submachine guns. It's kind of dumb. They need to make those kind of more of a bailout maneuver rather than running around with your dual guns. I mean, nothing looks stupider than seeing those two guns bob up and down, and then when they get into engagement, they spray all over the place and it's over. They got to fix that. It's annoying, it's cheesy, and it looks stupid. Number 9 is they need to focus more on the gun-on-gun combat. That's some of the things that the earlier Call of Duties did best. Is it was about who was the better shot, who was the better gamer. Halo still does this really well. I'm not a huge Halo fan, but I still have to respect that they've got the gun-on-gun combat down really, really good. If you're in a bad matchup, you can still win it if you know how to maneuver, strafe, and aim and fire. Get that headshot, get in there. Rather than these crazy weapons that can just spray across the screen, or you've got perks that allow you to soak up extra bullet damage or whatever it may be. It removes that whole skill of just aim and fire. Get it back to that a little bit more. I'm fine with a few things that mix that up, because it's a little bit boring if it's just circle strafing all the time. We don't want that. But it's got to get back a little bit more to that gun-on-gun combat. And then number 10, this is something I've really wanted for a while, is I wish they would create some mode-specific maps. Now, I know that's intensive when it comes to development, but it would really help. And maybe, in DLC, because you have maps that are really, really good for certain modes, and then you have some maps that are kind of weak. Some of the maps, domination's terrible, just because the map layout just doesn't work well for it. It's imbalanced. You have one side that if you capture it, it's really easy to lock it down. And that's because it's, a general spawn point that's fine for team deathmatch or deathmatch, whatever it is. But it would be a lot better if they had maps that were more specific to certain game types. Sure, you could still play the other types on them, but it would be nice if it was just like, if you wanted to play, say, only domination, that the map pool favored domination. If you wanted to play team deathmatch, the map pool favored those. And then they could have modes where it's like any mode on any map in the matchmaking. So, from what I've seen of Black Ops 2 so far, and what I've heard is in regards to what's been announced and rumblings, talking to other people who know a little bit more. It sounds like Black Ops 2 is going to be one of the more interesting Call of Duties in quite some time. They're really trying to move it forward, and it feels like Treyarch was sick of being told that they were the B team, and they really are grabbing this one and going for it. Single player sounds interesting. Modern Warfare 3, I can't say I enjoyed the single player too much, and the multiplayer kind of wore thin for me. I don't know if I'm getting a little bit of apathy with Call of Duty or not, but I still think the series is fun. I think they can do a lot of good things with it. They just got to go back and tweak things a bit. Can't just say, well, this is what's worked, because there's a little bit of fatigue setting in with the gamers, and you know, it's time to mix things up for the good of the series. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'd love to hear your comments on this. You can always hit us up in our forums. It's forums.gamertheory.com. If you're on gamertheory.com, you can just click on the community tab and that will take you to our forums. You can comment on our YouTube videos, Gamer Theory vids on YouTube, or hit us up on Twitter at gamertheorycom. And we'd love to hear from you guys. We're always giving out prizes and stuff, and so we're really, really looking for feedback, and we're trying to get better. So stick with us. We'll have more content coming. Thank you guys for watching.